Well, it's Victory Monday. Bears coming off a big win against the Rams. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back into the Bears Den, an NFL podcast with the Chicago Bears First Focus. I'm your host, Alex, and today we are talking about the Bears' 24-18 home victory against the visiting Los Angeles Rams. A big Week 4 victory, one that the Bears really needed. Lots of good things came from the game yesterday. Lots of improvement. And I'll start with the defense first because they've really kind of been the stable piece for the entire season. Another solid performance. Guys flying around the field. Jaquan Brisker had a huge game, had 2 interceptions. One got called back for illegal touching. Had a huge tackle late in the fourth quarter that forced the Rams to punt inside their own 15, I believe. Huge, massive third down tackle. Tremaine Edmonds had a couple huge plays. TJ Edwards almost had a pick. Darrell Taylor, Montez Sweat had a forced fumble on a strip sack. The guys were playing hard yesterday. They were flying around. Couple big chunk plays that were given up over the middle, but that's kind of standard for this Matt Eberflus defense that we've seen over the last couple years. They play a really solid bend but don't break game. There's usually one drive a game where they let the other team into the end zone, but other than that, they will let the team. It's like a standard Bears defense that we've seen for decades. They let the team move the ball up and down the field, and then when they get in the red zone, they just take the ball away. They get pressure on the quarterback, and they get the stop and they hold them to field goals. And ultimately that's, a huge reason as to why the Bears were able to win yesterday. I listened to the opposing team's quarterback and coach press conferences after the game to kind of see where they're at. And I was listening to McVay talk and Stafford talk, and they were really frustrated with how easily they seemed to move the ball down the field, but then they couldn't get anything done in the red zone. And so I think that's a huge kind of testament to where the Bears defense is at. And it reminds me a lot of the 2018 Bears team specifically, in the fact that every game that year, pretty much, they would let the team move down the field, and then they would get not just a stop, but they would get a takeaway in the red zone. And we saw that, we almost saw that yesterday. Brisker almost had it, but we saw it last week where they gave up the huge bomb to Anthony Richardson, and then they pick him up in the end zone. And so that's just kind of where this defense is at. And like I keep saying, and I'll keep saying it, this is a championship level defense. This is a championship level defense. And if the offense can figure things out, who knows where this team can go, right? But defense played a fantastic game. I'll go special teams next. Special teams, Cairo Santos obviously having another great day. Kickoff game was pretty good. Don't have too much to say there. And then, of course, one of the MVPs of the game yesterday that we all know is Torrey Taylor. Just an insane punter, just an insane player all around. His ability to flip the field and pin deep is something that I've never seen before. Like this guy is like the best punter in the league, and he's been playing for 4 games. And I know, I remember hearing all the talk of, oh, he was Iowa's best player in college, and he should have won the Heisman because of what he did and stuff like that. It's just he really helped win us the game. And I saw something yesterday. It was like win percentage change after each of his punts, and the net game through all his punts was like 22.5%. So he like completely changed the game. And the 166 yarder from the south end zone to the north was just absolutely unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. It was like, I don't really, I've never been one to get hyped during special teams, but like, besides of course when Devin Hester was playing, and Tariq Cohen, but my God, this guy is something else, and just an absolute weapon. And I said it in my live stream yesterday, but I remember, I was on vacation when the draft was happening, and I remember seeing, on Twitter, oh, we drafted a 4th round, or we drafted a punter in the 4th round, since I, was unable to watch the draft live this year. And I was like, man, a punter, like, really? And like, I knew who Torrey Taylor was. Like, I had seen him get posted about. I don't watch Iowa games. I'm an Ohio State fan, but um, I was like, oh man, like a punter in the 4th, really? Like when we could use help at O-line or edge. after seeing him perform through 4 weeks, that's like the best fourth round pick we've ever spent. So, absolute weapon was a huge key to the game yesterday, and just really really glad that he's on our team. And then finally, we'll talk about the offense. This offense, look, first half, I was on fire everybody mode once again. I was so sick of it. I was so tired of the just spamming of screenplays and the running up the middle and not getting anything and just no penetration at all from the offensive line. And I thought Caleb looked fine in the first half, but they weren't really doing much on offense. It was a lot of stick routes, it was a lot of out routes and comebacks and no deep shots. And I'm just like, fire everyone. I'm so sick of this. I'm so tired of it, right? Like, and there's just a ton of penalties, and the team had a ton of penalties in the first half, the offense specifically, which is completely unacceptable. And so at that point, I was like, okay, let's fire everybody. I'm so tired of this. And then the second half come around, and for the first time in what seems like years, the offense actually adjusted. And the offensive line, once Tevin Jenkins went down with his injury, which I hope, he's doing all right. I hope he heals up quick. Uh, all of a sudden, the pass pro looked better and run blocking looked significantly better. And then DeAndre Swift was able to break out. And so this question that I ask is the problem on the offensive line 76? Is it Tevin Jenkins? And that feels wrong of me to ask because he's been a very solid guard for us for years. But Matt Pryor was the highest graded player by PFF on the Bears yesterday on offense. And that was after he moved to left guard once Tevin went down. And so I think that question's worth asking because maybe it's true. Now, I have yet to watch the film. I'm going to do that after I record this video. And obviously, we would have to see more of this, not just 1 week. But it's a question worth asking because what we saw in that second half was offense that we haven't seen all year. Efficiency running the football. DeAndre Swift making big runs. Roschon Johnson making big runs. Screens hitting for big plays. Like DeAndre Swift had that huge reception that went for like 30 yards. And then, of course, he broke off the big 36-yard run for a touchdown. And it's like, where has this been? This is who Swift is, and I've been hard on Swift. This is who he is. This is who we saw his later years in Detroit. This is who we saw in Philly last year. And it was like, man, like, is he washed? Like, what is he doing? But yesterday, that's who he is. That's who we signed. That's who we paid $30 million for. And so now it's like, well, if we can get that every week, not even all of that, if we can just get some of that, if we can get some of those big runs, if we can get a big screen like that to hit once a game, then it opened up the game for Caleb Williams, and that's what it did. And he was able to march right down the field, and he had that beautiful over-the-middle throw to Cole Kmet, which not many quarterbacks in this league can make. And then he had the beautiful touchdown pass to DJ Moore with a closing pocket. And that wasn't his first read. I haven't watched the film, but on the TV copy, it looked like that was maybe his third read to DJ Moore. Started on the left side of the field, worked, and they got there in a closing pocket, threw the ball in the most perfect spot. And Caleb had a 107 rating on the day, so once again improving. Completion percentage, 73%, was the highest on the year. Yardage was down a little bit from last week, but that was expected when he threw for half the amount of times. Touchdown pass, no turnovers, 2 rushing touchdowns, Swift and Johnson, and then a beauty of a touchdown pass to DJ Moore. That's winning football with this defense. And now the schedule is getting soft. We're entering the soft part of the schedule for this year, right? We knew that Houston was going to be tough. We knew that the Rams were going to be tough. And I think if you ask a lot of fans how they feel, being 2-2 at this point with a rookie quarterback, really good with the schedule, right? You expected a win against Tennessee. Many fans, I assume, expect a loss against Houston. I picked them to lose. I thought they were a little bit outmatched. That game was one-score game. I think most fans expected us to beat the Colts. I think that's a game that the Bears probably want back. One that they probably should have won. But then I think if you would ask at the start of the season who would win, the Bears or the Rams, I think a lot of people would probably pick the Rams to win, and the Bears won this game. So they dropped against a team that they probably should have beat, and they won against a team that many probably thought that they weren't going to beat. We're 2-2, right? And now the soft schedule coming in. Here comes Carolina, who's 1-3, going to play against Andy Dalton, and I don't think that Andy Dalton's going to perform well at all against our defense. I expect him to throw a couple picks. I think that the Bears should win that game pretty easy. I think that should be their most dominant win of the year so far. And then they have Jacksonville in London. Jacksonville's 0-4, looking absolutely terrible. That should probably be a win. And then they got the bye week. And then after that, it's like you got Washington, they got Arizona in there, they got New England in there. I don't remember the exact order. I'm not looking at it right now. I could pull it up real quick, actually. Let's pull it up. Let's take a look. Panthers should be a win. Jacksonville should be a win. Bye week. And then Washington. Right? Jaden Daniels, all this hype. But I don't think Jaden Daniels is going to look like Jaden Daniels against our defense. I think that's going to be his wake-up call. And then Arizona, who just got destroyed by Washington yesterday. And then New England, right? So those are all our games before we run the NFC North gauntlet. The Bears could be 7-2 before they play an NFC North opponent if they win all those games. Now, I don't think they will. I think that they're probably going to drop one. And if I had to guess, I would say maybe they'll drop it against Arizona, right? I know we beat Arizona last year. I just think that, Kyler Murray's mobility is tough to deal with. So if I had to bet on us to lose one game, I would pick that one. But even then, if the Bears are 6-3 going into the NFC North gauntlet, I mean, sky's the limit for this team, right? We got to just continue taking it a week at a week. And we're 2-2, right? And it's a victory Monday, and it feels so good today that we're 2-2 instead of 1-3. And it's a huge win too, right? Because it's our first NFC opponent, the Rams. Okay, so we're 1-0 against the NFC. We're 2-0 at home this year. Bears have won 7 straight home games dating back to last season. And it's against a team that, if we all assume San Francisco is going to win the NFC West, it's against a Rams team that is probably going to be flirting with a wild card spot, right? And many of us expect the Bears to be flirting with a wild card spot. Now we have that tiebreaker, and we're 1-0 in the NFC. And so that's massive. It's a huge win. It was a huge game. They needed to win, and the offense, once again, last week against the Colts, developing the passing game, looking good. This week, developing the running game, looking good. So next week, against Carolina, what I want to see is, can we put all of it together for 60 minutes? Because what I've noticed under Matt Eberflus is that the team doesn't show up for the first quarter, sometimes the first half. And then they're elite at making halftime adjustments. I mean, this might be the best coaching staff in the league when it comes to making halftime adjustments. The problem with this coaching staff is that they dig themselves a hole that sometimes they can't get themselves out of. So what I want to see next week against Carolina is, can we start from the start of the game? Can we build a lead from the start? But the Bears are 2-2, tied for third in the division right now with Green Bay. Bears are technically ahead, I think, because Green Bay's 0-1 in the division, lost to Minnesota yesterday. And we'll see what Detroit does tonight. But we're 2-2. We got a lot of winnable games coming up. And the team is still healthy, thankfully. Team is still healthy. So we'll see. As always, I appreciate you guys listening, tuning in with me. Like, comment, subscribe. Really helps the algorithm push my channel, my videos. I'm trying to grow this channel. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. And yeah, I appreciate you guys being here. As always, hang out in the den with me. Bear down, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video. Peace.